Hello everyone, Nosy here, aka Icon7. Today I will be covering up the check spots at Shack, also known as the God palette. Not every map has a Shack, of course. We all know most survivors know how to loop Shack at this point, but knowing your check spots makes it even stronger and makes you an even better survivor. Check spots, of course, also help against more advanced killers, not just average or baby killers. I already made a video on check spots on the TL wall, check spots on short wall jungle gym, check spots on long wall jungle gym, and check spots on the filler palettes. Anyways, I don't want to make this intro too long. Let's get straight into the guide. Okay, so from here you can see the killer from your right, as well as through the window to the pallet, as well as to the left. From here you can see the killer from your right, as well as through the window cracks, as well as to your left. And from here you can see the killer from your right, as well as through the window cracks, as well as to your left. Now, I'm going to show everything as an example in a chase, of course, but I also want to mention that this window with the cracks is not always there. Not every shack has those cracks. Then we have the crossroad check spot from the back window, where you can see through the back window to the pallet, but you can also stand on the other side and look from the back window, from the outside of course, through the non-pallet side, but I will show that later in the video as well. This is a difficult check spot, but I will show as examples in the video, of course. But on this check spot, you always have to take your time and be patient, because even if they do come from your right, you can still have enough time to make the window as well as the pallet. However, if they don't come from this side, you need to stand on a different check spot, but I will show this in the video. Of course, sometimes they won't double back, they will just commit, but then you just keep running and you can make pallets. Here is an example of bad timing. It looks like they are committing, but since this is blocked and I can't see anything, I'm assuming that they were behind it since they are committing, so I'm assuming they are hiding behind it, but then when I keep running, they are all of a sudden over here.
I got you, homie.
This is the check spot from the back window from the other side, where you look through the window from the outside through the non-pallet. And when you stand here, you are completely invincible, because even if they do come from your right or from your left, you can see them coming. I told my friend to surprise me and try to mind game me, because I'm super safe in this position. Regardless of where they come from, I can always see them coming, and I can always make shack pallet or shack window. In this case, they decided to come from my right, but it doesn't matter because I can still make the window. If they come from this side, you can still make shack window and pallet as well. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit in detail right here because it's actually simple. I mean, just bear with me. So as you can see, we have the window in shack, right? I can look through it from this check spot where I'm standing. I can look through it and I can see the trapper from the door. However, we also have a window with cracks next to it. And the reason why I'm not going to mention that is because, now don't get me wrong, this is a really good window for check spots as well, but not every shack on every map has that window with cracks, and that is the reason why I'm only going to be focusing on this middle window where you can see the killer through the window, through the door. However, if you think about it, if you position yourself and you look through the cracks, it's a lot more safe, right? Because you have a lot more distance away from the corner. But even while standing here, you can still make shack pallet. Regardless whether the killer moonwalks, you can still make the pallet of shack, because this is a safe check spot. This is how it looks like in a chase, so ignore the cracked window. I see that the killer is going that way. Now, what most survivors would do, as you can see, I cannot see the killer because I saw them going to the right? I saw them going to the right side. Now, most survivors would just run left, right? And they would, you know, run left because they're assuming that the killer is coming from their right. And in most shacks, this window is blocked, so the cracked window is blocked in most shacks. So if I would have actually ran to the left, I was gonna get caught because I didn't check. But because I'm using my check spot in the middle window, I'm not using the cracked window. I can use the cracked window, but I'm showing an example with the mid window. But because I'm waiting here just to make sure if they're still going to double back, and they did double back, and because of that, I adjusted my game plan. So here, as you can see, I was about to run left, but because I checked my check spot, it saved my life. And then I stand here again on this check spot, I see they're vaulting, I stand on this check spot, I see they're coming, and then from here. Now, this is something I want to talk about as well, and that is the vaulting. So the thing that I want to talk about is you can always get a fast vault when you keep your momentum. So for example, as you can see from this position right here, now if you focus on the locker, that position, like between the boxes and the locker, is where you can still get a fast fold after like walking for a second and then sprinting again. That is how you can still keep your momentum and get a fast fold. Here is in slow motion if it was too confusing me explaining it. So as you can see, I'm running towards the window, but notice how I walk for a second. There you go. And then I vault the window. So I walk between the locker and the boxes, and then I sprint again for the fast fold. This is why the locker check spot is so nice, because you can actually see if the killer is committing. While standing here, I can see that the killer is committing, and I can take a fast fold. Also, the locker check spot gives you a lot more information as well, because you can actually see the mind games of a killer. Don't do this. A lot of people do it way too early. They think that the killer is coming to their left, and then they do this. Now, the reason why you should never do this is because this is way too early. Like, not like the whole point of a locker check spot is to see if the killer is actually coming to your left. And if you see that they're coming, you go to the window and you wait near the window. And it's kind of weird to explain this, because if you do this, what I did now, you're forced to drop the shack pallet. You're just forced because you have no other option, or you get hit. And if you're injured, you go down. This is the point of a locker check spot. You wait here and then you see what the killer is doing. You see they're coming from your left, and then you take the fast fold. There is no need to take it early and panic and then run to the pallet because you don't know where the killer is and then waste the pallet so early. There is no need to do this because there are so many ways on how to prevent this. If you do find yourself in a position where you lost momentum, as you can see, I'm not between the locker and the box. I'm more closer to the window, which means I'm not gonna get a fast fold. It's fine as well. However, if the killer does have Bloodlust, I don't know if Bloodlust 1 is enough. But yeah, resilience is good in these situations because it can really save you in these moments. So if you have resilience, you can avoid being hit in these situations. However, if you do play against a killer from Ecuador or whatever, you will get hit no matter what. Just getting back again to the cracked window at shack. If a shack does not have it, such as Area of Crows, now in Area of Crows, the shack does not have these cracked windows. And I think in other certain maps as well. I know in Macmillan they do have it, but if they do have it, make use out of it. I know I showed an example on how to use the middle window only because it's the most important window and it's the window that's always there. So yeah, but if shack does have the cracked window, try to make use out of it. Also be aware of killers double backing too much. As you can see, use your check spots. The killer is double backing to my left and I'm going back to this check spot. I see that the killer is double backing to my right. I'm going back to this check spot. I see that the killer is double backing to my left and I'm going back here and I'm going to check here and then take the window. Always be aware because anything can happen no matter how good it looks. Now, as you can see, I see that they're inside shack. They're coming from my left and I'm already over here. I'm so far away, right? Yay, so good. And then they come from here. So yeah, like always be super aware because no matter how innocent the trapper may look, like you never know what they have up their sleeve. And a moment like this can cost you a game. Or if you're dead on hook and you're going to shack, you're telling your teammates, yeah, I'm going to shack, I'm fine, you know, no need to worry about me. It's just a trapper. And then all of a sudden they do this. Yeah, I mean, you're dead. And now you might think, no, see, how do we prevent this? Well, you just loop the way you loop. You check your crossroad check spot from the back window. And over here, you see that the killer is double backing. And then you wait here. This is the safe check spot. You just wait here. And then they come from my right. But are they actually coming from my right? Because over here, this is another example of bad timing. Now, I have the back window, right? Why am I running past it? That this is a mistake. All I had to do right here was to slow down for 1 second. 1 second, I had to slow down near the window to see if they're coming from the inside of shack, but I didn't do so and I got caught because I didn't wait that 1 second. It shows that 1 second is really like a game changer when it comes to this position. Like, as I mentioned before, if you stand here, you can still make window or shack pallet from this position. You're super safe, even if they do moonwalk from your right side. So I didn't do that and I got caught. Here are some extra tips. When you vote a shack window, do not stand here. This is a wrong check spot. You don't have any idea where the killer is. They could be moonwalking to your right and you will get caught because you don't have time to make the pallet. Or they could be moonwalking and taking the shack window as well, and then you won't have time to react to that either. Also make sure that you're not hugging the window too tight. Get some, you know, safe distance. I know there's many things you have to be aware of, but at the end of the day, it will all pay off. This can still happen from the other side as well. Do not hug the window. So, like I said before, when you play against a killer that is, you know, not experienced or just average, or a baby killer, you can loop Shack even without check spots, and you can vault that window like 6 times. You can wait till it's like unblocked and vault it again. Like, that's just how it is. But when you play against a killer that is experienced, check spots come in play, because they try to put so much pressure on you. Like, most experienced killers try to put a lot of pressure on you, forcing you to drop the pallet very early on. But since you know your check spots, I hope after watching this video, it prevents you from dropping Shack early on in the game. So you can try and make full use out of it. I know it takes time, I know it takes a lot of practice, but at the end of the day, it will be worth it. And yeah, these are the check spots at Shack. I really hope this guide was helpful. I really hope you learned something new. In case you want to learn more about check spots, I will leave the links in the pinned comment as well as in the description. I had 4 videos already made before this one. I do stream on Twitch as well, so if you want to follow me there, I would really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you in the next check spot guide. Mommy knows she loves you. Bye.